Hello everyone, this is COOLPRO195 and welcome to my 20th birthday special follow-up video, which is a follow-up unboxing video to my previous video that I made, which is my original 20th birthday special. Pretty much because I got the rest of the stuff that finally arrived and took its fucking time. And with me I have another guest commentator. Introduce yourself.
Hello everyone, this is Clarinetgamer here. And, well, here with COOLPRO195, of course, with his follow-up video. Sorry about that delay.
Yeah, a bit of lag on his end, but whatever. Anyways, in this video won't be just unboxing video. We won't be just unboxing the rest of the stuff I got, even though it's not much compared to the last video, but we'd also be talking about pretty much stuff related to our reflections on the E3 press conference at the PlayStation, which is awesome.
Yeah, it should be really good to talk about that as well.
Yeah. Now, let's start with the first item that just came, which is Little Big Planet for the PSP. And yes, I know that PSP is quite an old console and this is an old game, but it's nice that I managed to get this factory sealed, which is amazing. And there's still a bit of value in the PSP console itself. It was a wonderful console. Heck, it came out like 10 years ago, like when I was like 10 years old.
Yeah, I mean, it's brilliant. You've got a Little Big Planet there. I mean, I used to have a PSP, well, I still own one, but I don't really play handheld consoles, really. I mean, home consoles are really my thing now, rather than the handheld ones.
Yeah, true. I pretty much, basically got, it's pretty much kind of the same thing for me, but not entirely. It's just that home consoles just stuck more to me, really. It's just like portable consoles, like, they're really good for holidays and shit like that. And yeah, all these are just portable games, really, just to let you know, because like, as you've seen in my previous video, I got a PlayStation Vita, so that's no surprise.
Yeah, that was brilliant to see that you got that in your previous video.
Yeah, it's like one of the best models as well, 3G and Wi-Fi. And here it is, and yeah, it's also nice to get this for the collection as well.
Yep.
What's your point of view on Little Big Planet?
Well, I mean, Little Big Planet, I've played the first one before for the PS3. I haven't really played any of the sequels, but I think it looks pretty good, like, to create a lot of different worlds. I mean, I've seen, like, different worlds being created on Little Big Planet, like, mods of, like, different games being created on it, and, like, it's very good, like, to create your own home world on it. It's very imaginative.
Yeah, that's actually quite sick. I even seen someone do like a few people do Oddworld recreations of Rupture Farms and all that on there. And also the game itself with the level creation concept, it kind of reminds me of Rayman Gold for the PC, which is not one of those Rayman games that were too well known, but more well known to PC gamers back in the 90s.
Yeah.
And that was a really fun game, I gotta admit. And the disc doesn't look too bad, although I never understood how, well, I did kind of understand, but at the same time, not entirely how they don't manage to actually put the actual logos of the games on the actual thing instead of just plain text around the disc, as you see.
Yeah.
And it's hard because, like, you don't get to see that much. This is kind of a valuable item as well, in a way, because you don't really see these discs anymore, these universal media discs, just for one device.
Yeah, they're pretty rare nowadays.
I reckon, like, if they were, like, really sealed or something, probably, like, factory sealed PSP games and all that would be worth loads, especially for the rarity of the discs and everything. I'm gonna show you a PSN guide. Awesome.
Yeah, that's pretty handy.
Yeah. Do you also remember, like, the hype of the PSP back in those days? Like, back in, like, early 2005, 2006 and all that.
Oh yeah, I remember all the hype for the PSP, and it was huge back then. But well, now the hype is mainly focused on the PS Vita now.
Yeah, because the PS Vita is now its spiritual successor, and it was rumored to be called the PSP2 or the NGP, which stood for Next Gen Portable.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I'm kind of glad they called it the PS Vita instead of like the PSP2. I mean, like, because the Vita sounds like a better name than PSP2.
Yeah, and also Vita is pretty much, the word Vita actually means life in Latin or Latino, if I'm correct on that. If I'm not, then just feel free to state in the comment section.
I think you might be right on that. I mean, I remember looking it up one day, and I think it did mean life. I think you're right on there.
Yeah, I think I'm probably right about the life part, but not the exact language in particular. Okay, now for the next time we have, and it's another Little Big Planet game, which is Little Big Planet for the PlayStation Vita this time. And I'm glad that they also made a PlayStation Vita version, like a PlayStation Vita game for Little Big Planet as well, because it's a PlayStation character. They might as well make it for all consoles that exist and all ones that are marketing.
Yeah, I agree there.
Kind of surprises me how the PS Vita, like, kind of didn't market as well as the home consoles, which is at the same time no surprise, but still it could have marketed better. It was only because of the price, and that was the same problem with the PS3 when it was released.
Yeah. But yeah, it looks pretty good. The box art looks pretty good on the cover there, on the back and also on the front.
Yeah, it also really fits in with the blue cover as well, like the whole art style of it.
Yeah, I think it does. Yeah, it fits pretty well.
Yeah, and also, like, to see Little Big Planet 3 announced at last year's E3 press conference for Sony PlayStation, I wasn't surprised, but I was quite amazed, because, like, I loved Little Big Planet 1 and 2 on the PlayStation 3. They were both amazing games, and I still didn't get to purchase Little Big Planet Karting on the PS3, but hopefully I will. And I remember there being an open beta about that game as well. And the stupid thing is that I didn't get the chance to play the beta because it was only open while I was on holiday.
Yeah, that's a bit of bad timing there. But you mentioned about Little Big Planet.
Yeah?
Yeah. You mentioned about Little Big Planet Karting. I actually have a PS3 game that's similar to Little Big Planet Karting in the way it's called Mod Nation Racers.
Oh, yeah,
Not sure if you remember that game.
Yeah, I remember that game. But in fact, a demo of that game came with Little Big Planet too. Well, and here we are with the cartridge. And yes, I'm just gonna call these cartridges because I'm old school. And yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I got used to calling these kind of things cartridges, because, like, it's the closest thing I can say to, like, game packs or whatever. Because, like, Game Boy and everything, I call them cartridges. Plus, especially since I recently turned 20, like, it really fits my age.
Yeah, I mean, I'm quite old school as well. I mean, I would agree with you there. I mean, like a cartridge, I mean, it looks very similar to that anyway. I mean, I remember, like, the handheld console I really used to play the most back all those years ago was probably the Game Boy Color and the Game Boy Advance. I mean, I know I'm going really old school when I mention those, but
yeah, I remember those. Like, I remember getting the Game Boy Advance on my 7th birthday with Crash Bandicoot XS. That was an awesome birthday present. I'm not gonna lie.
See, I never played in the Crash Bandicoot handheld games. I remember, like, I first played, what was it? The first Super Mario Brothers game on the Game Boy Advance. I'm not sure what it was part of. It was part of a game called, I can't remember what it was called again. I think it was remastered, I think, for the Game Boy Advance.
I think so, yeah. Pretty much it's literally the NES version, but they ported it to the Game Boy Advance. And they did the same thing with Pac-Man for the NES. They ported it to the Game Boy Advance, and I know because I actually own the actual Game Boy Advance cartridge of the Pac-Man game, which is awesome. Now for the next game item I have is Minecraft for the PlayStation Vita, and as you've seen in the previous video, I previously got Minecraft the PlayStation 4 edition. And yeah, Minecraft is I know it's pretty much kind of a game which you can easily get for free on PC, and which is what I did ages ago, and but it still has that kind of fun in it. I mean, I know even my little cousins play it as well. Like, they're
Hmm.
very creative with the game.
Yeah. For Minecraft, I mean, like, I tried to get into Minecraft, but it's just, I mean, I can see why a lot of people like it. I mean, it's very creative. I mean, I can see why it's very good. It's just, for me personally, I mean, I try to get into it, but it's just, it's not really my kind of game, to be honest. But I can see why a lot of people like it.
Yeah, that's a fair point of view coming from someone like you, to be honest, because I pretty much I like Minecraft. I did get into it, but then I just started playing a bunch of other games, and I kind of lost track of Minecraft, and I haven't played Minecraft in ages since. I've only seen like my little cousins play it on their PS4.
Yeah.
And here we are with the... Wow, another voucher code, and here we are with the cartridge again.
Yep.
Yes, just blame it on the old school people. Just don't take it. I'm sorry if this doesn't appeal to you, like, new people of this generation, but, that's just how I am. I'm old school, and I love it. I love the fact that I was born in 1995.
Yeah, I mean, I like the fact that, like, I was born in the 90s as well. Like, 93 was when I was born, so good times indeed.
Yeah, wonderful times. That's
Yep.
Minecraft out the way. Now for my final item. Here I have a 64GB memory card for the PlayStation Vita, which is really handy because then I can fit a lot of games and a lot of game saves inside my PS Vita, so then I don't run out of space easily. So yeah, pretty much I'm the kind of person that aims for a high capacity. But that's personally me.
Yeah, I can see why you say that, and I think it's really great that you've got that as well, because I mean it allows you, like you said, to save a lot of games on your PS Vita, and it, it's the same thing with like I think you can use the PS Vita with your PS4, can you? Like for remote play purposes. I'm not sure if that's the case.
Yeah, you
Uh,
can. You can remote play. You can pair up your Vita and your PS4 for remote play, and you can do PS Vita and PS3 as well, as far as I remember.
hmm.
I remember the old days where you can connect your PSP to your PS2 to unlock unlockable stuff, like in Crash Tag Team Racing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Yeah,
that brings back.
that was awesome.
Yeah.
Brings back a lot of wonderful memories.
Yep.
Just being born around the start of PlayStation, like, it's a wonderful
Yeah.
thing. Like, I experienced all these years growing up with PlayStation, Xbox, Nintendo, Sega.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of great moments have happened, or brilliant things have happened in the last 20 years.
Yeah, it's really quite sentimental to me, to be honest, as well, especially as a gamer. Growing up with the things you've known best, and you've learned to love how they work and love how you see your own point of view through them as you grew older.
Yeah,
It's like one of those great things that anyone would love to have. And yeah, I don't think there'd be any point of me actually opening this up since it's kind of short, but I don't know, I think it's got a bit of, yeah, it's got a bit of tape in here, but yeah, all you need to really see is the memory card, so yeah, and it's nothing special if I take out of its box, so yeah.
mm.
Now anyways, now that all the items out of the way, what do you guys actually think of the Sony PlayStation E3 Experience 2015? With all the amazing games that were announced, and what were your expectations on them?
Well, you see, when I watched E3, I mean, well, this is obviously late at night. I tried to stay awake for this. I mean, the hype was keeping me awake, luckily, when watching it. But I think there were a lot of games that really surprised me. For example, like The Last Guardian, I was like, wow, this looks absolutely amazing. Because I remember they first announced it, if I remember correctly, for PlayStation 2, but then they kept delaying it, and I thought, oh, great, this is not going to be cancelled, is it? And then when I thought, okay, maybe they'll show it at this year's E3, and I was like, holy crap, that really blew me out of the water when when they showed that. I was like, I'm really looking forward to this as
Yeah,
well.
yeah, that was amazing. Like, I remember, like, on my birthday, like, I was trying to keep, I was, I was only awake for a bit of for, like, a portion, let's say a certain portion of the live event, and I was
Mm.
watching, and I pretty much saw that Last Guardian announcement, and the key words they used, like, it pretty much got a lot of people hyped, because you can tell by their reactions, they were all, of the audience, they were all gasping, and I bet you, like, many of those were thinking Crash Bandicoot at the same time, because they used keywords like, what you call it, it hasn't been around in a long time, it's a long awaited game, that people are
Yeah,
waiting for ages and all that, and then when they first started showing the footage, it showed only on PlayStation. I bet that dropped a lot of bombs on people.
yeah.
And to find out there was a Last Guardian, it didn't really disappoint me anyway, because The Last Guardian is also a long awaited game and people waiting for that for ages, and it actually looks really cool.
It does, yeah. I mean, like, and it's coming out in 2016 as well at some point. I mean, I'm not exactly sure when in 2016. I'd imagine it probably will be, I think, maybe at the end of 2016. I mean, that's my guess.
Yeah, probably. For The Last Guardian. Also, for if Crash Bandicoot was to be announced, then they would probably announce it as kind of like a, what do you call it, kind of like a teaser or something to for the next year, because 2016 marks Crash Bandicoot's 20th anniversary, and that would be the perfect year to release a brand new Crash game. And you never know, Crash could actually also be in the works at the same time, because now that Sony and Activision have become partners for so they can earn like exclusivity for DLC on Call of Duty Black Ops 3, which is built upon how they worked really well with each other on Destiny. There could be something behind in the works, you never know. Sony are probably trying to negotiate with Activision to get the license back as we speak. Well, plus, for a matter of fact, Sony have said many times they actually want to get Crash back as well. They don't stop talking about him.
Yeah, I mean, I agree there. I mean, it's just, as a huge Crash fan myself, I mean, I really hope this happens, but it's just, like, I remember, like, you might remember this news report from Naughty Dog stating about how they wanted to put a Crash Bandicoot game within Uncharted 4, and yeah, it never
Yes, I
happened.
remember that. Like one of the one of the employees actually wanted to put the actual full game of Crash Bandicoot 1 like into Uncharted 4, and I think that would have been an amazing concept. So then it introduces people to a classic era of gaming where it was in a chilled era of life, let alone gaming. Sorry, let alone gaming.
Yeah, I mean, it's just it kind of sucks that that's not in Uncharted 4. But to be honest, I mean that's not going to obviously take away like the quality of Uncharted 4, obviously. But it would have been nice to see it. But well, we just have to wait and see what happens with Crash Bandicoot. Well, I mean, the thing is, like you said, it would be very very fitting to see Crash Bandicoot announced like on its 20th anniversary. I mean, I would love to see that happen next year. I mean, here's hoping in a way it does. I mean, the thing is, like, I think maybe they might have, because I know that Sony have got
Yeah.
this E3 experience event happening in December, I think. So they might announce it there. I'm not entirely sure.
Well, all we can do is hope for the best, really. I'm not really putting my hopes down, just because after every press conference I don't get any announcement from Crash Bandicoot. I mean, there are many games besides Crash Bandicoot, but also, going back
Oh
to
yeah,
Uncharted 4, like, as you said, like, you're right when you said that just because Crash Bandicoot 1 wasn't implemented in Uncharted 4, it doesn't mean that the quality of the game is ruined. I mean, pretty much the main build of the game is still there because they want to focus a lot in the main game, especially since this is a PlayStation 4 game. It has to be much more work in it. This isn't just any old PlayStation 1, 2, 3 game. This is PS4 we're talking about. This is pretty much next level.
Yeah, I mean, especially the engine they used in Uncharted 4 as well. When I first saw screenshots of like Nathan Drake, I was like, "What the hell?" I was a little shocked. I was like, "Is that a real life Nathan Drake or something?" I was like, "No, it's not. It's only just the new engine."
Yeah.
It's amazing how technology advances these days.
Yeah, it really is amazing, and I wouldn't be surprised if they actually made graphics look like proper real life as well. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets to that stage sometime soon, because the PlayStation 4's graphics seem to be very close to that.
Yeah, I do agree there. I mean, like the thing is, like they got their Project Morpheus coming out at some point as well, because I mean that's one step closer, I think, to that happening, like you mentioned, with the real life graphics.
Yeah, Project Morpheus, I could imagine it'd be really sick, especially with the Oculus Rift and everything. And also, let's not forget that Sony are currently also working on the PlayStation 5 as we speak, which is very deep in development. They have not revealed much information, but the thing is that the PlayStation 5 should be much better than what a lot of people expect. I mean, if the PS4 is this good, then imagine how the PlayStation 5 would be like. Because if you take a look at Nintendo and how the Wii U did, it didn't do as well as the PlayStation 4 did. I personally reckon the Wii U was also a great console as well. I also happen to own the console myself too, and I enjoy the value that the Wii U gave me as well. But to be honest, I prefer the PlayStation 4 more, not just because of its power, its graphics and everything, because of the value it gives me, because I grew up with PlayStation.
Yeah, I do agree there. You see, like I've been like a PlayStation guy myself. I mean, like back all those years ago. I mean, like for Nintendo, like I said, the only consoles I've really owned, like by Nintendo, are the handheld consoles. I've never really owned the home consoles like the GameCube, the Wii, or the Wii U. But I've played the original Wii before, and it was really good. I mean, I really enjoyed playing the Wii. I've never played the Wii U before, but it has a lot of great games on there. I mean, especially like the Super Smash Brothers games, the Mario games. It's a lot of great range of games in my opinion for the Wii U.
Yeah, they had really good games for it. I mean, even Watch Dogs apparently was the last game to be the maturely rated game, apparently, which is what I heard. And also, yeah, you're right, when you say the Wii had a lot of good games for it. I mean, even though it wasn't as good as the PS3 and the Xbox 360 in terms of like high-end games and all that, it was still a great console. Like the thing is with the Wii, like it kind of, I don't know if you're gonna agree with me on this or not, but if you think about it, like the Wii actually kind of wanted to be the PS2 and the iToy put together, if you remember the iToy, because the iToy is kind of like the classic version of the Kinect, but at the same time it was better because they had a lot of fun games for that as well, and the Wii actually took that inspiration, well, kind of got inspired by that, if I'm correct on that, and actually made good games for the Wii. But the thing is, for the Wii they had to use motion controllers, which for the iToy on the PlayStation 2, you didn't have to use jack shit, you didn't have to use any controllers. You could literally move your hands, you could hit people like that. It was that
Yeah,
fun.
yeah, I can see your point on that, like the Wii being very similar to the iToy. I mean, I do agree with what you're saying there. I mean, you make great points about that. I mean, I try to remember what games they had for iToy. Was it not some? I remember a Sega game being released for it. What was it? Sega
Yeah, there
Superstars? Or
was. Yeah, it was a Superstars game, but I don't exactly remember it was. And also they integrated iToy features for some games that you can use the controller, but you can also use iToy at the same time. Like, I think Sega Superstars Tennis was on the PS2 as well, because the PS2 was still a popular selling console.
mm, still the most popular selling console to this day, actually, with
Yeah.
still 150 million units, I think, were sold as to this day.
Yeah, the PlayStation 2 is one of the very best consoles, and also because of its backwards compatibility as well with the PlayStation 1 games. Because I loved playing the PS1 games on the PS2 as well. It was amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I really like that feature as well. I mean, on the PS2, like on the PS3, I mean, I remember owning one of the original PlayStation 3s, the 60 gigabyte model, if I
Yeah.
remember
I
correctly.
still have
That
mine in the background back there.
Yeah, I see it there. And I remember that it had the PS1 backwards compatibility, but the PS2 games only had like software-based emulation that might count as well for the PS1
Yeah.
games. But I still thought, I mean, it was kind of rubbish that they removed that from the PS3 that I have. I think it's 120 gigabyte model is what I have.
Yeah,
And
it's funny because, like, pretty much they did the same thing with discontinuing a certain feature on the PS Vita and the PS3. Like, for the PS3, it's PS2 backwards compatibility that was discontinued, and for the Vita, it was 3G that was discontinued. And that they were both complete and utter piss takes on my end, and they were two of the very best features that you can get. I mean, I don't know why they would remove it, but I understand that it would have costed them a lot more money, but especially to get PS2 hardware and like the original PS3 Japanese model. I mean, that must be the best model ever, and the American models also had that too, but the Japanese one clearly came first. And it's also like, I can compare those two at the same time because the funny thing is that it took me 3 years from their release dates of each console to get both consoles because of the issues that because of the discontinued features that they removed. Like, the backward compatibility. Like, I resorted to getting my PS3 pre-owned, like, in 2010 instead of just, like, jumping to get a pointless model when it was cheaper. And and for the same thing as the PS Vita, which I did in this year in 2015, I got the original 3G and Wi-Fi model with the OLED screen and everything, because the original model is pretty much the definitive model. And I can't believe they actually fucked up on the slim model where they put an LCD screen. What was the point in that? I mean, even if it's like the most advanced LCD, it still doesn't match up to the OLED screen on the original PS Vita. It looks amazing on my PlayStation Vita, all the games I play.
yeah, I mean, I do agree there. You see, like you were talking about the removal of backwards compatibility, especially for PlayStation 4 as well. You see, the one thing I could say that's probably positive about that, I mean, I know that's quite negative, but the one thing I would say that's positive about it is that, like, they're looking forward to the future. Whereas when Microsoft announced it on their Xbox One, I was like, oh, what is Sony going to do next? Are they going to announce backwards compatibility as well? But they never did anything like that at their E3 conference. I mean, like, Microsoft announcing backwards compatibility on their Xbox One is pretty huge, in my opinion.
Yeah, true. It really got big, the Microsoft backwards compatibility announcement. And yeah, they announced that it would only be on the Xbox. It would only be backwards compatible with Xbox 360s, but most likely a majority of them, because it's very likely to be software-based emulation, just like it was, just like the Xbox 360 had software-based emulation for the original Xbox games. It's pretty much caused a lot of bugs and everything, but it would still be nice to play Xbox 360 games on the Xbox One. Like, especially since I played Crash to Insanity for the original Xbox on my 360. Like, when I play that, it actually feels like I'm playing the game at 60 FPS, because it runs natively. I mean, I know there's a bit of lag here and there, but it's kind of... But that's understandable because of the software emulation. It's the way that they was tested. I'm not sure if it was entirely tested properly, but I think that's also because of the hardware. It's not just because of the game itself. And yeah, and also it would be nice to see... I reckon it would have been much better if they actually made the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One to be also backwards compatible with the original Xbox games, but at the same time I would have reckoned that it costed a lot of money. But it would have been also a major improvement on that, but I don't know, maybe they could actually expand on the backwards compatibility for the Xbox One later on in time, because because of the sales. The PlayStation 4 have been beating them so much in terms of sales, and playing like these original Xbox classics, they were amazing back in the early 2000s.
Yeah, I do agree. I mean, there were a lot of great classics on like the original Xbox. I mean, like there was like the Halo or the first two Halo games for Xbox, the original Xbox. There was also I don't know. There were some games. I mean, I'm not sure whether you agree with me on whether they were good or not. But like there was this Blink's Sand of Time or whatever it was called. I mean, I not really played the game
Oh
myself, but
yeah,
I'm not sure
Blink's
whether.
the Time Sweeper.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah, I got mixed up with Prince of Persia for some reason.
To be honest, I never actually played Blink's the Time Sweeper either, but I reckon it could be a great game. I just need to give these games a chance really, and yeah, I loved Halo. It was wonderful, and pretty much it's kind of that concept which Call of Duty pretty much kind of ripped off, I may say, but not entirely. But it's become such a cash cow franchise, and I don't think I remember much from Black Ops 3, from the E3 press conference, but I pretty much kind of anticipate on getting this since I loved Black Ops 1 and 2, and as you can see in my previous video, I got Black Ops Declassified for the Vita.
Mm. I mean, like for the Call of Duty series, I mean, like the last Call of Duty game that I really liked and I really played was Call of Duty 4, I think. I mean, the other ones, I mean, I mainly played with like my little brother, like on the multiplayer mode. I mean, it's just I remember seeing the multiplayer for Black Ops 3 and it looked really good, but it's just the other ones I kind of remember seeing the footage for Black Ops 3.
Yeah, true, and also Star Wars Battlefront. Like this announcement for Star Wars Battlefront also kind of got me quite hyped for it. I loved playing Battlefront 2 on the PS2, and I still have it. I mean,
Oh yeah,
I have
same
great
here.
memories of it.
Yep, same here as well. I mean, like that this announcement was just I'm so looking forward to this game. I mean, I really am. I mean, I think it's going to be really huge when it comes out. I'm just hoping there's no major problems with it though when it comes out, but I'm going to remain hopeful that or positive that there'll be no major problems when it gets released.
Yeah, true, because you've seen how Batman Arkham Knight has become kind of quite a disaster for the PC. Although the companies have acknowledged the glitches, and they are working on them at least, so that's at least something that a good company should do. So yeah, I really hope for the PC version to be fixed, and yeah, Batman Arkham Knight should be awesome.
Yeah, like I've seen like I think my big brother's got it on the PlayStation 4. I've seen it being played and it looks amazing. I mean, like I've completed the other Arkham games for PS3. I need to play this one still, and I think it's going to be absolutely amazing. I mean, I've seen like what the game looks like, and I can already tell it's going to be great. I mean, when I play it.
Yeah, I even seen some footage myself from live streams, and I've also seen Bandicoot 15 play it around his house, and also had a bit of time playing it myself, and it was and it was actually really fun to play. I mean, it was more challenging than the previous Batman Arkham games in the Arkham series, but it's still amazing. Like all these innovations and everything. You get to drive the Batmobile. You get to do all sorts of things. You get to do like some tissue scans or whatever the fuck they're called. It's amazing.
Yeah, I mean it's brilliant. I mean, although I have seen some people say about like the Batmobile, like I mean, it's a great concept that they've introduced this like in the in Arkham Knight. And the thing is, like in the Riddler challenges, they said that the Batmobile really isn't all that great to control in the Riddler challenges. I mean, that's what some people have been saying.
Yeah, I've heard those complaints as well, and I'm not really surprised really. Also, especially since the bugs are the PC version, some of them probably rubbed off on the console versions too. But hey, at least they're working on patches to fix them, so I'm
Yeah,
really grateful for that.
yeah, that's a good thing that they do that for Arkham Knight. I mean, you see, just going back to like Star Wars Battlefront we were talking about earlier, some people were mentioning about how like there wasn't any space battles like at all in this game. But to be honest, I don't really mind about that because you got all the vehicles like from space onto the planets themselves. I mean that I can already say that's something that I'm already looking forward to because I mean, like you've got like your X-wings like on Hoth. I mean, I remember seeing that on like the EA conference. I mean, that was fantastic to see. Like especially like with Luke Skywalker there and Darth Vader there as well, like clashing lightsabers. I mean, it's fantastic.
Yeah, that was awesome. And also, like when you said like you don't mind that there are no really space-based missions, it also kind of pretty much makes sense in order to like stop it from being too linear, if I'm correct on describing that, because most of Star Wars is based in space anyway, so they might as well like at least make a few games where it's not based, where there are no space-based missions. I mean, it really adds more. It really adds more, like, it makes the games more unique, in a way.
Yeah, I can see your point. Like maybe they'll, you see, maybe they'll add it as possibly some DLC, maybe in the future, like after they release it. I mean, that's my guess anyway, and what they'll do for that.
Yeah, for DLC that would make sense, because it would be a great contribution for them. It would make up and it would pretty much make up for no space missions, but at the same time it can be great without the space missions. They're basically giving, if that's pretty much true, then basically that way they're giving you a choice, like, do you want to play those extra space missions or not? I mean, I know it's going to cost more money, but still, since it's DLC, it shouldn't be too much.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully it shouldn't be too much, right? Depending on what content is in the DLC or how much content is within the DLC. Like, say, for example, if there's a lot of it, of course they're going to charge a lot of money for it. But like, if there's not that much content, I'd imagine it'll probably be quite cheap. I think.
Yeah, and especially since Star Wars Battlefront is also a franchise that hasn't had a new game in ages. Like, since the PSP Battlefront game, I forgot what it was called.
I think I'm not sure. I remember one of them being called Renegade Squadron.
Yeah,
That
yeah,
might have been.
that's what it's called. That's the one I was thinking of.
Mm. Uh, but yeah, it's really great to see like Star Wars Battlefront get a new game, and it was finally been ages. I mean, like I've never really played the handheld versions myself. I mean, I've only ever played Star Wars Battlefront 2 for the PS2, which I still sometimes play to this day. I mean, especially like with that unique concept that they had the Clone Wars on there, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, that's the same thing for me, really. Because I never really got to get the PSP version, or the PS Star Wars Battlefront Renegade Squadron for the PSP, and also because I didn't get my PSP until 2009, and I was 14 back then. It was pretty much a confirmation present, and and the PSP still has a lot of great value to it as well as Star Wars Battlefront. I mean, I wonder if this new Battlefront is this like a kind of a remake or just like a sequel? Because I don't exactly remember.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, like this new Battlefront obviously doesn't have the Clone Wars in it. It's only got the Empire and the Rebellion, so it's kind of like the first Star Wars Battlefront in the way. So I'm not sure if I mean I've never really played the original Battlefront game myself, so it could be similar to the first Battlefront game, or it could be expanded a bit. I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's pretty much partially the same thing for me. I hardly played the first game, the first Battlefront game, because like I never owned it, but I played it like I just played it like in stores when it was new or something, but I never got a chance to got it. You know, like when they had those consoles set out and they give you a chance to play the game.
Oh yeah, I remember those. I mean, those were definitely the days back then. I mean, especially like when they had the sixth generation consoles, like I mean PS2, Xbox, GameCube. I mean, I remember playing. What was I remember playing Stuntman. That's what it was called for PS2. I remember playing that in game at one point at a game store, and it was really good. And I was like, "Oh, I need to get this game." And you see, that I think they should do that more often in the gaming stores, because I think it definitely like gets more publicity out there for the games, and it gets more people to possibly like, buy their games. I think.
Yeah. And Stuntman was also quite a hyped game too. I mean, I pretty much didn't hear that much from it, but it seemed quite good from what I saw from it back in the day. And also back to when you were mentioning consoles like GameCube and all that from the sixth generation, like I anticipated the Wii to be the GameCube too. I mean, it's kind of what it should have been in a way if you kind of look at it. So it could, you never know, it could have been as good as, if it was the GameCube too, it could have actually been as good as the PS3 and the Xbox 360. It could have actually matched up, but at the same time, the Wii was also a great console with its sentimental value it gave for like being a family-based console.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, it was definitely like based like towards families. I mean, especially with all the games that they had there. Like, I mean, like Wii Sports, Wii, what was it? Oh, what was it called? I can't remember the name of what, a Wii Party or something
Yeah,
like that. I
Wii
think this.
Party, I remember that. Wii Sports is fun too, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I mean that was the first game ever released for the Wii, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, and also the Wii Fit as well. I haven't played that in ages.
Yeah, I've not played that in a while either, actually. Wii Fit. You know, I remember doing some of the physical exercises on there. It's
Yeah.
pretty challenging.
Yeah, and also, like, going back to what I was saying about, like, the iToy is kind of like a classic version of the Kinect, but better. Yeah, it's pretty much better than the first Kinect, but pretty much the second Kinect, like, for the Xbox One, improved on it much more, because, like, compared to the iToy, the games on the iToy and the games on the first Kinect, and the functionality of both systems, like, the games on the iToy were more fun, and the functionality of the iToy was better. I mean, it was easier to detect people as well. I mean, whereas, like, the Kinect, well, the first one anyway, could easily misdetect someone, and it could easily detect the wrong person.
I remember having that frustration. I mean, I remember like playing Connect with some school friends some years ago, and when we were playing, I can't remember what the game was called. It was something to do with like some sporting events or something like that. And I remember like trying to play a game at one time, and it just would not recognize me at all. And I'm like, ah, and I was like, yeah, that is a bit rubbish that when that happens, but it's just, yeah. I mean, I'm not sure why it was doing that. Like when I didn't recognize like myself when I was playing the game.
Yeah, that was a complete and utter piss take. Like, I got my Kinect for the 360 back in Christmas 2010, and I'm not gonna lie, I had fun playing with it, but all those detection problems were quite a piss take. And I hope, like, whenever I get an Xbox One, like, the Kinect would be much better.
It was just like for the Connect. I'm not sure whether you'd agree with me on this. I'm not sure whether the Connect like was kind of like a first step towards virtual reality in the way because like you're not using the controller obviously with Connect because you're obviously like detecting the camera like with the Connect camera you're using and it's kind of in a way like the virtual reality headsets that are coming soon. I mean, I'm not sure whether you'd agree with me on that or not or.
I think it could kind of be like the virtual reality headsets in a way, but at the same time the headsets could be better in some ways. I mean, also it gives that kind of rotational view because like you're seeing like everything from a different perspective when you're wearing the actual virtual reality thing. As
Yeah,
far as I know.
yeah. I'm trying to think what else we could talk about. Maybe just going back to like E3, like what else was announced like during Sony's conference.
Oh,
The
there were
Final
also
Fantasy.
two new games as well, and yeah, Final Fantasy was also a great big surprise as well. A lot of people,
Yeah,
it was, and when they saw the word remake, everyone was excited. I remember
yeah.
like watching some people, like watching the E3 like when they were streaming themselves, and one of them like fell off his chair or something when he was when he first saw that shit. It was fucking hilarious.
Yeah, it was. I mean, watching people like react like that. I think I saw who was it? You know what? You've probably heard Teal Game Master. You've heard of him, haven't you?
Yeah, I haven't seen him in time. He's gotten really big, like on YouTube, like, and I pretty much haven't been in contact with him in ages.
Yeah, I mean, like I saw his reactions to E3, and like I didn't really see a Sony conference because I think I decided to watch that like without any reactions, just to like get my reactions on
Yeah.
it, and like I saw his reactions like to Microsoft's one and Ubisoft's one, and every time like in the comment section they always kept saying Rayman in this game, Rayman in that game, and I'm like,
Yeah, I remember that.
yeah, yeah. I don't know. I mean, Rayman, like they've got a lot. I mean, the last Rayman game I think they released was it not Rayman Legends they last released?
Yeah, the
Like,
last official Rayman game was Rayman Legends. And yeah, that was a remarkable improvement of Rayman Origins. I love that game.
yeah. I mean, I might think about getting it for PS4 one day and see what it looks like.
Yeah, I got it on. I now have it on PS3, PS4, PS Vita, and on Steam. So yeah, just three
Well,
more
that's
versions for the collection.
yeah.
Yeah, it'd be nice to play all versions anyway, especially the original Wii U version. And Final Fantasy, like the remake, was really highly anticipated, and it would be nice to get a chance to actually play that. And you're gonna say something about Final Fantasy before like we started talking about the reactions. What was it that you were gonna say?
Like, what was I going to say about like when I first saw the trailer? Like before they said like they showed the trailer, it's like now here's something that's been long anticipated, like it's something along those words. And when I watched the trailer, I was like, wait, what is this? Like a special treat? I actually thought this was a new game when looking at it, but when I actually heard the music being played at the end, I was like, oh, this is a Final Fantasy VII remake. Especially when I saw Cloud Strife there as well, I was like, oh, I was like, I can't believe it. They announced a remake. I was like so excited. I mean, even though like I'm not really a huge Final Fantasy fan, I remember playing 7 mostly like out of the franchise, and I was like, I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah, it just looked so amazing. In fact, pretty much there has been a hat trick of long-awaited games that were announced at PlayStation's E3 2015 Experience press conference. Because like Shenmue 3 was also announced, and it has been ages since Shenmue 2 came out, as they showed kind of like a trailer or something, and it was pretty much based on this Kickstarter that they made in order to fund Shenmue 3 to get really popular, in order to actually making the actual to get the project like kick off.
Yeah, I mean, like Shenmue. I think. Sorry, I keep pronouncing that wrong. Shenmue. I think that's how. Did I
Yeah,
pronounce that right?
yeah, I
Yeah,
think it's Shenmue.
Shenmue. Yeah, I think that's how it is. But like, I've never really played any of those games before. But like this new one that they're doing, like Shenmue 3, it looks really good. I mean, like especially like going through Kickstarter. I mean, I remember like they did that for what was the platformer?
Oh yeah,
Ukulele.
Ukulele, which is a spiritual successor to Banjo Kazooie, and I really liked how Ukulele actually funded a lot. In fact, I was one of the people actually who what do you call it, made a pledge in order
Yeah.
to get like such wonderful collectibles of the game on the release date, including a physical copy of the game and everything. I pretty much pledged to get the 64-bit edition, which is amazing. And I'm kind of really anticipating Ukulele as well.
Yeah, I mean, like ukulele. I've seen like gameplay footage of ukulele recently, and it looks fantastic. I mean, as far as I know, it's coming out next year, and I haven't really played any Banjo Kazooie myself, but I am a big fan of platforming games, so I think this is one that I'm definitely going to like when it comes out.
Yeah, it should be really big for platformers. And it's also cool at the same time when Rare, like the company, actually make a pun on their own name, like in order to make the revival not revival, but to make like a concept revival like stand out, like Rare Revival.
Yeah, I I think did they not announce like at their conference? Did they not announce like a game collection or something at their the Microsoft conference? Or was
Probably,
that
I don't exactly remember, but
I
yeah, this
remember a
is
game
time ago.
collection, yeah, being announced there, but I'm not sure if it was Rare that announced a gaming collection at the Microsoft press conference. I definitely remember a game collection being announced at the conference.
Yeah, I remember that too, and I really hope Ukulele would be such a wonderful game, as great as Banjo-Kazooie was, and maybe even better, and also control better too, because on the Nintendo 64 it was kind of, it was kind of glitchy and shit like that, but it was still fun.
Yeah, but well, so we're
Like they
talking
even
about.
re-released it on the Xbox 360 as an arcade game.
Oh yeah, as part of the or was it Xbox Live Arcade? Yeah, so there's so many things like on Xbox that I need to remember now. Xbox Live Arcade, a remake or a reboot. There's so many words now in the gaming vocabulary.
Yeah, and they should really bring back like platformers and all that. And I don't know if they actually made what you call it, Ratchet. I don't know if they actually made further explanations on Ratchet and Clank for the PS4, but that looks amazing from what I've seen. And it's based on the movie that's based on the first game, so at the same time it's kind of like a remake of the first game.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen footage of this or this reboot of Ratchet and Clank, and it looks amazing. I mean, I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, it looks absolutely amazing. I mean, like the Ratchet and Clank games, I've recently started to get into them. I mean, like I've got the HD collection for the PS3 of the first three games, and they're pretty good. I mean, I'm really enjoying them so far.
Yeah. I mean, they worked really well as spiritual successors to Spyro the Dragon. I mean, they also kind of play like Crash Bandicoot as well, and they're good alternatives. And I loved their originals, like in the trilogy, and I also loved the Future series. I mean, all the innovations they made, like all the concepts they had, the story was also well driven too.
Hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would agree with you on that one there. And the you see, it was a bit of a shame that it wasn't really talked about that much at E3. Although that being said, since they already announced it, I mean, maybe they didn't really have anything that much to add on to it. But I can tell you, like, I did see like a trailer for the new Kingdom Hearts 3, and that looks brilliant. Even though it was just the Japanese version of it, the game looks amazing, like on the PS4. I mean, it's been long anticipated, I think, for so many years, the third Kingdom Hearts game.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts looks awesome. I haven't really seen much of it, but it looks cool from what I've seen. And also, what was this new concept that they were introducing? Like, it's brand new, and it's what they announced on the Sony PlayStation conference.
This must have been like you mean like the home console features that they've announced in like an update, or I think like they
Probably.
talked. I think they talked about things like how Spotify was like a huge like music platform like on the PlayStation. Oh, I think that's just reminded me. I think it was PlayStation View is what it was called. Like the
Yeah.
it's something similar to Netflix, I think.
Yeah, and there's also like something which you can control. I think there's also this game that they mentioned. I can't remember the name of it. I don't know if it's a game or not, but it's like you can do whatever you want on it. It's like completely improvised. You can create what you want and like play out like however you want it to play out or something like that.
Oh, this must be like I'm thinking of two games here. One of them is by Media Molecule. That's the
I think
uh
that's one of them.
yeah, Dreams is what it was called.
Yeah, Dreams. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, that's a huge step up from Little Big Planet. I mean, I saw it and I was like, wow. I mean, this looks amazing. I mean, Dreams.
Yeah, that was a massive step up for Little Big Planet, especially since I really enjoyed Little Big Planet back on the PlayStation 3. And also Doom, like this remake of Doom should be really good. I mean, I haven't seen much of it, but so far it looks really cool.
Yeah, I've seen some game footage of the Doom remake and it looks pretty cool. I mean, I haven't really played that much of the Doom series myself. I mean, I remember playing the first Doom game. I mean, particularly a demo that I've got of it. But
Yeah.
apart from that, I mean, not really that much. I mean, I haven't played like Doom 2 or Doom 3 or anything like that.
Yeah, it's pretty much kind of the same thing for me, really. I haven't really played got the chance to play that much of Doom, even though it did kind of appeal to me, especially when they announced a remake of it. It was really interesting to see that, which is now 4 games, like 4 long-awaited games that were actually brought to E3's press conference, which is the Last Guardian, or Lost Guardian, wherever it is.
The Last Guardian, yep.
Yeah, The Last
That's
Guardian. Final Fantasy X, was it? Or Final Fantasy 7 Remake, I think it was.
Yes, 7 remake.
Yeah, Final Fantasy 7 Remake. A new introduction to Star Wars Battlefront. And the Doom remake.
Yeah.
Like, this is gonna be... The PlayStation 4 is really gonna appeal to a lot of old school people, despite not having Crash Bandicoot there. I mean, because all the things that they waited for, like, even encouraged, like, one of my friends back at college to actually get a PS4. Because before, he wasn't really all up for it until he saw, like, games like Final Fantasy 7. Like, he waited so long for that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a great move on Sony's part to do remakes like this. I mean, like you said, to bring in like old school fans. I mean, like for example, like Final Fantasy VII. I mean, that's the one thing, and also the Ratchet and Clank remake as well. Because I mean, there probably would have been old school fans of like the Ratchet and Clank series, like especially for those who had the PlayStation 2 as their first console. I mean, if they had Ratchet and Clank, I mean, that would definitely bring in some buyers, I think, for the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, and by looking at how this is going with all these classic remakes of classic games, I can really imagine the PS4's sales escalating much further up than they were before. I mean, I know they were pretty much thrashing the Xbox One sales, but based on this conference, I can tell it really looks like it's gonna go up much further. It's gonna skyrocket until probably beating the sale mark of the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I mean, I think so as well. I mean, I'm not sure how many units it sold. At the
Yeah,
moment, I
same.
mean, that's something I'll need to check at some point and see how well it's doing compared to the rest of the consoles on the market.
Yeah. And the Xbox One should be really good too, especially with its backward compatibility and also Halo 5. I mean, as a matter of fact, I still need to get the Master Chief Collection.
Yeah, I mean, and also they also like announced as well that to add on to this, Gears 4 as well,
Yeah.
right at the end. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because, like, in a way, the Xbox One might actually get much more sales as well. Especially since, like, they announced, like, Gears of War 4. I know a lot of people loved Gears of War back in the old Xbox 360 days. Like, they were hyped whenever a Gears of War game came out. No, it's understandable because it's in their fan base. It's natural.
Yeah, I do understand about that. I mean, like I know that my brother is like a really big fan of like Gears of War. I mean, even though he's now like got a PlayStation 4, I mean, I'm not sure whether he'll get an Xbox One. I mean, that's something that he'll probably decide upon. But I mean, like I do like the Gears of War games. I mean, they're really good. I mean, like I really don't have a Microsoft console at all. I mean, I've never owned one either. It's just that they're really good to play on, but it's just for me personally, I'd rather just stick to PlayStation because, like I said, I mean, I've grown up with PlayStation in the past, like as you have as well.
Yeah, pretty much. I've pretty much grown up with PlayStation and also Xbox and Nintendo as well. As like, I'm pretty much kind of also grown up with PC as well, since I'm actually quite an open gamer. Like, I like to play a lot of games from a bunch of categories of different consoles. So then, like, I don't have like too much of the same type of game, or just too much of games on the same console. It's like I don't want to get bored of playing the same stuff all the time.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I do quite like to play a lot of variety of things. I mean, even though I have like PlayStation consoles, I mean, I do play like different types of games. I mean, there's not only platformers, but racing games, shooting games. What else? I'm trying to think what else. Maybe
Oh, yeah, there are also RPGs as well.
RPGs, I mean, I play some of them, yeah. I mean, like, for example, like Final Fantasy VII, which I'll need to get back into at some point.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, can't wait for the remake.
Yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of debating myself. You know what? Maybe I'll just hang off and wait for the remake to come out
Yeah,
instead.
probably. Yeah, that'll pretty much kind of give you a little break and cool off, and then re-experience it all over again. But much
Yeah,
fresh.
yeah, I would think that'd be the wise move there.
Yeah, it'd be very wise. And also back to like talking about the PS4 and Xbox One, like they both actually were actually announced to get brand new models of them, and they both have 1 terabyte of hard drive space inside them.
Yeah, I think this is a really good move because I mean that way like a lot of gamers can really store a lot more on there. I mean as well as like their games. I mean they can store potentially like their music and their movies on there, especially since Sony recently announced well they've now got a media player on their PS4. I mean
Yeah,
they can store like music and movies and photos on their the PS4 as well.
yeah, and especially since like it wasn't really clever of them to put a 500 gigabyte hard drive to begin with, like to be completely honest, because it's bound to happen anyway. Like the games are gonna, like 1 terabyte consoles, at least a 1 terabyte console is bound to happen anyway, because 500 gigabytes, like knowing how big these games are for the PS4 and the Xbox One, a 500 gigabyte would fill up quick.
Yeah, I agree there. I mean, like a 1 terabyte, I mean, is definitely a wise move on the Sony's part to like allow gamers to put more games on their hard drive.
Yeah, to be honest, they should have actually started with 1 terabyte as well. That would have been a good start. I mean, I know it still would have filled up slightly, slightly as quick, but it would have taken less time as well because the bigger space. But yeah, I reckon they could start like with 1 terabyte or maybe build up to like even bigger amounts because as you saw, like the PS3 started off with gigabytes, and now here we are with the PS4 like going into terabytes.
Yeah, it's a great step up, like for Sony to do that, like to go into terabytes. I mean, maybe they'll go even further in the future, maybe two
Yeah,
terabytes or
yeah,
yeah.
they should really do that because you never know. Even 1 terabyte could fill up quick. But yeah, or maybe
Mm.
even more. But yeah, people can still like make kind of their own add-on to get an external like 6 terabyte hard drive on there, which would be sick. Then like you never run out of space.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen like I've heard quite a lot of people doing that, which I mean, I've seen people do that before with the PS3, but like for PS4, I mean, it was kind of new. I mean, I never knew people could do that with the PlayStation 4.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, it's kind of easy to actually replace the hard drive on the PS4, but at the same time, you don't really have to like lift the plate up. You could also just connect it through like USB or something, as I've seen through tutorials, but it takes a few connections really because of it's based on like those hard drives that you use on computers, like Seagate and everything.
Yeah, I would say that's I would agree with you there on that.
It's a really wise move for Sony to do that, and Microsoft also did a really wise move for making a 1 terabyte console for the Xbox One. I mean, I think that would also kind of compensate to the backwards compatibility as well, in case people wanted to actually save Xbox One saves on, I mean, save like progress from Xbox 360 games on their Xbox One as well, so then they can continue where they left off from there. But even though it contains even though the actual Xbox One contains an input HDMI slot where you can plug pretty much any device that connects through HDMI, even your Xbox 360. So yeah, that was really helpful that we did that. And also these newer consoles as well, they're probably, these newer versions of the PS4 and Xbox One also likely to consume up less power as well because of kind of how they were looking at it, because like they don't want the console to consume too much power because this is newer hardware we're talking about.
Yeah.
And pretty much, what's your view on that? Like how you think the backwards compatibility would compensate on the Xbox One to the hard drive space and everything?
I mean, like you've been saying about the 1 terabyte hard drive announcement, I think it's a good move, like on Microsoft's part to do that, because I think it does compensate like for the backwards compatibility. Well, because like eventually, like of course, I mean they're going to add on like a lot of games like one by one via this software emulation, and that way like a lot of gamers will be able to put their Xbox 360 games onto the 1 terabyte hard drive as well as their current Xbox One games. I mean, I think it really does compensate in that way. I think.
Yeah, it compensates really well. In fact, some people could think of using it half and half, half half the hard drive for Xbox One games and half for the 360. That was amazed that they announced backwards compatibility for that as well. And yeah, as for the PS4, it should be like they should make it backwards compatible too, but I reckon that would take much longer. I mean, especially since there are more consoles to make it backwards compatible as well, and it would be nice to get at least some PS1 and PS2 games on the PlayStation Store as well, like for the PS4.
Yeah, I mean that's what I think as well, because I mean they've got this PlayStation Now service, which I know like a lot of people have said that they don't really like the PlayStation Now service because of the like how it costs quite a lot of money from what I've heard, like to stream like a lot of games. But it's just I think it would be wise for Sony to go back to that old traditional way of like putting the older games on the PlayStation Store, or even just via software emulation. What if they can afford it, that is. But I think the wiser move would be for them to put the games on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah,
that's what I think.
Yeah, that'd be such a very wise move for them, and pretty much Sony, Microsoft, and all that, they've brought back a lot of memories and everything, and also this talk about E3 as well has pretty much kind of brought some hype to this video alone, pretty much, because like based on our reflections on E3 and everything, it really adds up. It really builds up more like an encouragement to also the viewers to buy more, to actually contribute to actually buying a PS4 and an Xbox One as well, which like also kind of anticipate as well, because it wouldn't be nice to see like next gen consoles like all of a sudden like go down. I mean their success deserves to continue on. I mean, and as you can see, the PS3 and the Xbox 360 are still being supported for another few years, so they might as well like keep on supporting them, and while these next gen consoles are also going as well. But these newer games are more likely to be mainly focused on next gen consoles. Well, technically now they're current gen, but you know what I mean. Just used to calling them next gen because you got so used to the previous gen.
Yeah, I mean, I can understand that as well. I mean, sometimes I still call PS3 current gen. I'm like, wait, no, PS4 is current gen now. That's yeah, PS3 is past gen now. Yep.
Yeah, a lot of people can really relate to that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that pretty much concludes what I pretty much unboxed, and both of us had to discuss in this video based on the items I unboxed and based on E3 altogether, not just the Sony PlayStation press conference, but also Microsoft Xbox's press conference, and also along with some Nintendo stuff as well, based on that. So, yeah, and I really hope this has really kind of inspired you to get, well, not exactly get the consoles, but inspired you in some way to actually go out and get a brand new console, to get like brand new consoles. But feel free to get it at your own free will, obviously. But we're only saying this as a recommendation. This is no way to force. But yeah, I really hope this pretty much just opened up your mind well, some of you who have been living under a rock, I hope this has opened up your minds to newer games, and also more of the classic games as well that they were remaking. And in the and I'd like to state, and also we'd like to know your opinions on, basically based on E3 as well as a whole, like which press conference and everything. Feel free to let us know. Feel free to let us know about your opinions on E3 altogether in the comments section below, like whether you think it was good or bad, or what kind of things really intrigued you.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be great to like hear a lot of different opinions like down in the comments below, but at your own will, of course. I mean,
Yeah.
and I mean, it just would be interesting to hear your opinions, especially like even if you had different expectations compared to what we talked about as well, like anything that you expected to see that wasn't at E3.
Yeah, because for all you know, many games could be unheard, and like, especially PlayStation games and Xbox games, like, you never know. But yeah, feel free to let us know your opinions about E3 in the description below. And I know this is kind of a bit, you may say this is a bit late to talk about E3, but this is pretty much the most convenient time that I could have made this video, because you know, the amount of time it took to arrive, like the other stuff. But yeah, but at the end of the day, it's my video, it's my channel. It can get recorded and uploaded whenever it can. So yeah.
As I say, it's always better late than never. That's what they always say.
Yeah, it's better late than never. So in a way, no one's late to the party. So yeah.
Yep.
So anyways, that pretty much concludes this video. Let us know your thoughts of E3 in the comment section. Feel free to subscribe, like, and or comment to leave feedback based on pretty much your opinions on, also your opinions on our points of view on E3 as well, if you don't mind. Because it'd be interesting to see like how you kind of think things could be in terms of our perspectives in a way. But yeah, this is all for us now. It's COOLPRO195 and Clarinetgamer signing off. Wishing you the best gaming experience ever. Laters everyone.
See you later.